Boss reprimanded me for not answering an email in 4 minutes. Now I'm wondering if I should quit due to her unreasonable demands. I've been at my new job for just over a month and have very grave doubts about whether it's going to work out. I'm finding it impossible to make my supervisor, Martha, happy. Her criticism is frequent, harsh, and in my opinion, often very unreasonable. The incident that has me writing to you happened today, when she reprimanded me in writing for failing to answer an email in 4 minutes. To set the scene. Earlier this week, Martha and my other boss, I support 2 teams but it's an uneven split. Unfortunately, my primary boss is the awful one, had a meeting with me in which Martha told me all the things I was doing wrong and what needed to change. I'm trying to understand where she's coming from, but I'm just not used to a work situation like this. She proudly describes herself as a micromanager. She doesn't appear to know the word has a negative connotation. And is looking for constant immediate responsiveness, over-communication, her words, and accountability. I understand she's the boss and it's her call, but it's a hard adjustment. I'm not used to being watched so closely. Every job I've had, the boss has been concerned with results, not with knowing exactly where I am every minute, hearing back from me instantly, etc. All week, I've worked so hard to keep her happy and show her that I took the conversation to heart. Then today, I received an email, in which Martha was CC'd, from a senior partner asking for contact info for one of our clients. I saw the email come in while I was working on a project for the other boss. I made the apparently grave error of not stopping instantly, but instead finished up the line in the Excel sheet I was working on, then opened the email and began gathering the requested info. Before I had finished, Martha replied to both of us, sending the partner the requested information, the wrong information for the record, but I'll get to that later. I saw her email, which arrived in my inbox a whopping 4 minutes after the email from the partner, stopped working on my response since it was no longer necessary, and went back to the project I'd been working on. Then I get an email from Martha. Jane, this would have been a great opportunity to build a relationship with the partner. Why didn't you dive in and assist? 4 minutes, Allison. 4 minutes. A bathroom break can take 4 minutes. I just feel like she's determined to hate me. I tried so hard all week to do everything exactly the way she likes, and she still found something to criticize. If she wanted me to answer the email, why didn't she give me a grace period of, maybe 5 minutes before answering it herself? Also, as I said earlier, she gave him the wrong information. He asked for the email address and she gave the physical address, which to me seems like she was so eager to answer the email, so that she could blame me for not answering it, that she rushed and sent the wrong info. By the way, if I sent incorrect information to a partner, she would act like it was the end of the world. But it's no big deal when she does it. Also, for the record, I understand some things are very time sensitive. I still think 4 minutes is kind of a stretch, for almost any situation, but I also want to make it clear. This was not an urgent request. It could have waited 5, maybe even, 10 minutes. I'm not asking whether my boss is being reasonable here. I'm very confident that she isn't. My question to you is, do you think I should start looking for a new job? I just feel like this is such an unreasonable criticism that there's no way I'm ever going to make this person happy. She either has no idea how to manage people or has developed an instantaneous hatred for me and will continue to find things to criticize no matter how hard I try. I've been so stressed out since I started this job, worrying about messing up, which not surprisingly, is probably leading me to mess up more. Is this salvageable or should I start looking for an escape plan? Update. Your response was really helpful. Martha had already fucked with my head so much that she really had me doubting myself. So much so that I honestly thought you might take her side and ask me, but why did it take you 4 whole minutes to answer the email? So for you and the commenters to reassure me that yes, she was being unreasonable was really helpful. As for an update. Reader, she fired me. Yes, I took your advice and started looking for a new job. She fired me before I could find one. The 4-minute email happened about a month after I started and I got fired just under the 3-month mark. The reason given was that I was making too many mistakes and that they couldn't trust me with my assignments. I'm curious how it's going with my replacement, if things like accidentally saving a draft to the wrong folder, in your first month at a new job, qualify as fireable offenses. I mess up sometimes, more than I normally do. But I think it's because of how Martha treated me. She was so volatile that I didn't feel comfortable asking questions, and she also would just disappear fairly often. She can disappear for 3 hours. I'm in trouble for missing a phone call because I was using the restroom. So a lot of times I had to make my best guess, and yes, amazingly, My best guess was always wrong. She was always coming after me with artificially compressed deadlines, so I usually had to send her work without having the amount of time I'd prefer to proofread, double-check, etc. Sometimes I thought she was moving the goalposts. Often she would say, "I told you to do X not Y," and I'd think, though I'd never say it out loud lest I face her wrath, "I don't think you did actually." And sometimes it was 100% clear that she was just inventing reasons to berate me. See, for example, 4-minute email. When I got the email that I wrote to you about, I knew deep down that she was just never going to let up. Clearly, she would find something to criticize whether I did something wrong or not, and in the end probably fire me, or bully me until I quit. That played out many times in the weeks before my firing. If I made a minor mistake, she lost her mind. If I didn't make a mistake, she would invent one. For example, she would email me to say things like, "The meeting has been over for 30 minutes. By this point you should have emailed me to ask what our next steps are." Maybe, but see above hesitancy to initiate contact with a volatile boss who finds fault with everything I say or do. I absolutely couldn't win, and it was just a horrible, stressful, demoralizing experience. The good news is that I did find another job that I'm much happier with, though the first few weeks were very tough as I tried to put the experience with Martha behind me. I was afraid to ask questions, thought I was about to be fired every time I made a mistake, etc. But as time went by and it became clear to me that I was now working with reasonable people, it got much better. While I didn't get out in time, I'm grateful for you and the commenters because, as I said, it helped me to keep some perspective in the face of a person doing her best to destroy my faith in my basic competency. I really wish this hadn't happened to me, and while I'm happy in my new job, and it's a bump in both title and salary, I actually now have Martha's job title. Seriously, suck it, Martha. I would never say it happened for a reason. Or that I'm grateful for it in any way. The fact that someone could bully me like this, be 100% in the wrong, fire me, and get away with all of it is really hard to accept. But all I can do is look forward. Am I the asshole for divorcing my wife after she thought I was lying about being raped as a child? As context, I was repeatedly raped by my brother's babysitter when I was around 9. She would grope me, force me to remove my pants, and then either stick my dick in her mouth or try and give me a handjob whenever my 4-year-old brother slept. Most of the time I was paralyzed and couldn't do anything to stop it. She would always buy me sweets or video games for my DS as a reward. So in a weird way I started growing attached to her and would try and seek the abuse if it meant getting her rewards. I knew whatever she was doing was wrong, but she would always threaten to take my life if I ever told my parents, so I never did while the abuse was actively happening. Everything stopped as soon as she graduated college and moved states. I only realized how fucked up the things she did to me were when I was around 14-15 and understood the concept of consent. When I tried to open up to my parents, strict Catholics, it never ended well. First, they blamed it on porn and claimed it corrupted my mind into imagining these things happening to me. If I claimed I was telling the truth, my dad would beat the shit out of me and my mom would ground me. I tried opening up to my friends, but their reactions weren't any better. My male friends just called me lucky and asked if the BJ was good. My female friends claimed I was just lying to get attention and laughed in my face. I learned to just try and forget the past and vowed to myself that I would never mention this to anyone again. Now on to last week. My wife had heard some good things about this show called Baby Reindeer on Netflix from our friends. Going into it, I knew it revolved around sexual abuse and stalking. In my mind, I thought I was over the past, and I could handle watching the show no problem. Big fucking mistake. At the end of episode 4, I was literally on the verge of tears and I felt all the supposedly forgotten memories come flooding back. At the end of the next episode, I couldn't hold it in anymore. My wife paused the show and just stared at me. After a while, I did finally manage to calm down a bit. She asked me why I was crying and I just let everything out. She said she was sorry, hugged me, and we went to bed soon after. I apologized to her the following morning for ruining our night. From the moment I let her know about the abuse, I felt something change in our relationship. No more kisses when I came back from work and no more initiating anything intimate from her side. She wasn't mean or anything, but I felt like something was bothering her. I tried to apologize for maybe making her uncomfortable, but she would just claim there was nothing bothering her and I was just being paranoid. Yesterday, me and my wife got into a pretty heated argument about her lying about taking out the trash, but during the argument she said something that floored me beyond belief. She literally said, "At least I'm not lying about being raped, you fucking narcissist." I literally couldn't process whatever just came out of her mouth. She tried apologizing right after saying that, but I just packed a few clothes and left to stay at my friend's house. She tried calling me several times since, but I haven't bothered picking up and have blocked her for time being. I know I might have trauma dumped on her and I know women aren't into that, but I just want some sort of acknowledgement, support. I don't have anyone left to turn to with this, and that's why I'm posting here. I've had 2 therapists to date and both didn't seem to help much. My gut is telling me to divorce her, but she's genuinely the love of my life. Throwing away 6 years because of this one moment doesn't sit right with me, but IDK. WIBTA for divorcing her? Am I actually the asshole here? I would love to hear some of your guys' opinions on my situation, and if you've read this all the way through, thank you. Relevant comments. Danny Caps fan. My heart aches for you. Being sexually abused is bad enough, but that nobody believed you and either mocked you or punished you for telling what happened is horrific. And I was going to suggest therapy, but I looked at your post again and saw that it didn't do much for you. Maybe a rape crisis center will be able to recommend a therapist who has experience with victims of CSA. What your wife said is appalling. It seems you feel she doesn't love you since your revelation and isn't on your side. That's reason enough to want to leave her. NTA Gnome 5314, NTA. You did something brave by opening up and she threw it back in your face. I'm sorry that you've faced such rejection your whole life. Unfortunately, that is all too common for men who have been sexually assaulted. It's up to you to decide if you want her back, but either way is valid. OP, thank you so much. I'm pretty sure this happens a lot to women as well. I went to a few anonymous meetings and heard a lot of the same from women who claim people just thought they were trying to get a settlement or something. Hot Cross Buns, 72, NTA. As a CSA survivor, the turning point for me in my marriage was when he told me to get over it, and it's been so long. We are now divorced. While it wasn't the sole reason I left, knowing that he wasn't a safe space for me anymore, if at all, was a driving force. So while I won't tell you to leave her, I will say you do need to speak with a professional regarding the assault and keep her at a distance while you work through your emotions. She can never take back what she said to you, and there needs to be consequences for that. Send PHX. And to add to the part about talking to a professional, OP, you mentioned the ones you've talked to haven't helped. I would keep trying and go to a different therapist until you find one with whom you mesh well. See if you can find one who has a focus on sexual abuse trauma, and even check if they have experience in this area with male clients. Unlucky_addendum. 3425, NTA also. I wouldn't call what you did trauma dumping. You opened up to your wife. You're supposed to support each other. I'm sure she was probably shocked, would explain some of her lack of empathy. But to call you a liar and a narcissist, no. You've spent enough time being invalidated by assholes. Deleted user, not only that. Weaponize the trauma of one of the worst things that could ever happen to someone to make OP feel small, guilty, betrayed, insecure, alone, invalid, then call them a narcissist and a liar. To retaliate for being called out not taking the bins out. It's monstrous. OP is right to consider that an instant relationship ends. Because fuck me, it's so many layers of evil. Imaginary Yak 6487, NTA. Therapy. I'm a CSA survivor. I'm a woman. I told my ex-husband about some of it after a trauma response to something he was attempting to do sexually. I wasn't comfortable and didn't think I could. He seemed to be understanding. One night after he had been drinking heavily, he tried to do this again and I said no. He said, "Why not? I'm not the one who RPD you, so don't take your bullshit out on me by denying me." He assaulted me and did it anyway. Did y'all know that back in the late 80s there was no laws on the books about martial rape until 1993? BC, you couldn't rape your wife back then? He's an ex-husband for a reason. She needs to be an ex for a reason as well. I wish you the best. Leanna Shaw. I don't think you can call that trauma dumping. If she was some random girl you were on a first date with, yeah, sure. But she's your wife, and that's the sort of established relationship that should be a safe place for you to open up about past traumas. The fact that it ended up *not* being safe isn't your fault, and I'm so sorry that she responded to you the way she did. I understand feeling conflicted about divorce, because it is such a hard thing to go through, but you absolutely would not be wrong to do so. I wish you the best, whatever you decide to do. ATA does not have a consensus bot, but OOP was voted NTA in most comments. Most of the comments were supportive, giving advice and telling their stories. Some downvoted commenters advised OOP to never cry or open up in front of women. Update. First of all, I just want to thank everyone for all the amazing love and support. For the first time in my life I felt heard and didn't just feel like a burden to people. I don't know what I did to deserve any of this, but I just want to let you all know that I'm beyond grateful. As for the update. Shortly after posting, I decided to go back home. I had work the next day and didn't want to burden my friend with my marital issues any longer. Upon coming home I was met with her screaming at me for just leaving the apartment and ghosting her without having an adult conversation with her. I just let her know how hurt I was by the things she said to me and that I needed some time to myself to gather my thoughts. She tried arguing back with how there is nothing to think about and that I was being an immature crybaby. From that point onwards we have barely been on speaking terms. I know a lot of people are going to be mad hearing this, but the longer I thought about my marriage and my wife, the more I wanted to give her another chance. She wasn't perfect by any means, but neither was I. A lot of my past relationships ended as a result of my past catching up with me, but I really want to change it this time. She isn't the first partner friend to have this type of reaction to what I went through. I know it's tough, but I feel like I just needed to bite the bullet if it meant keeping my sanity. I didn't want to start over again. After we somewhat started talking to each other again, I sat her down for a serious conversation and let her know again how hurt I was by everything she said. I let her know about all the ridicule I suffered as a result of me opening up and her having the same reaction, just reopened unhealed wounds. She just kept quiet until I mentioned couples therapy. She then started crying, but not for the reason I thought. I tried holding her, but she just pushed me away and screamed that I seriously thought about ending our marriage over some silly argument we had and that I was just trying to make up some sob story after watching Baby Reindeer for attention and sympathy. According to her, all of this was just too convenient to be believable. If it was real, why didn't I mention any of this throughout the 6 years we have been together? At this point I even started tearing up. I apologized for keeping this from her for so long and then tried reassuring her that I in fact wasn't making this up, but she just slapped me and stormed off to bed. That was a week ago and I have been sleeping on the couch ever since. Whenever I try to speak to my wife, she just makes snarky comments towards me and just storms off. I just cry myself to sleep most nights and just wish I never fucking watched that show. None of this shit would have happened. I currently don't have the money for therapy and just feel lost. I don't want a divorce. I want to try and make this work, but this whole mess is just so draining. I'm not in contact with my family, so I don't have anyone I can turn to with this. How would you guys move forward in this situation? Relevant comments. Just Anthony. There is no saving this relationship. From the looks of it, you're going to end up miserable and ultimately stop telling her things to avoid arguments and/or belittling from her end. Be honest with yourself. What exactly are you looking for in marriage counseling? She'll need her own individual therapy before she can take on marriage counseling. It won't get anywhere if only one person acknowledges there's a problem. OP, I understand you've been with her for 6 years and she's by far the best you've had, but she isn't the best for you, let alone the one. Why compromise the rest of your life to her when you can get out and move on? You're only 27. You have so much time to get out there and find someone who loves and respects you. All of you. You still have so much time to find someone who'll take you and your trauma seriously, who will work with you every step of the way no matter what it is. Who will own up to their own faults in a so-called adult conversation. You deserve better. You know you do. Don't settle for less. You wouldn't treat yourself the same way your wife does. Get therapy, when you have the money, and work on yourself if you believe that you have flaws of your own that contribute to a relationship's failure. It's a cliché saying, but it's better to have no company than bad company. OP, everyone here supports and believes in you. The only person left is you. You can do it. Within 10 years, you will look back at this and thank yourself for leaving this situation. It's hard work, but you can do it. Fits design. At the end of the day, staying with her is increasing your trauma. Please leave her for your own sake. Ratty handwriting. Sir, I have been married for 18 years. I have known my husband for 22 years. After 9 years together, he disclosed that he was attacked and raped at the age of 14, after knowing throughout our relationship that I was also a survivor of child sexual abuse. I tell you this because I want you to know what my response was. I held him while he cried. I asked if he wanted to report it to the police. I supported him when he didn't. I encouraged him to seek counseling. When he was ready, I talked to him about my own experiences. At no point, did I belittle him, disbelieve him, make him feel less of a man, criticize him, tear him down, and I certainly did not act physically violent towards him. Your wife's behavior is so far on the other fucking side of normal, I wonder, frankly, if she's human. You deserve better. This is cruel and vicious behavior on the part of your wife. She's a horrible, horrible person and she will never improve, but you have the rest of your life to live happily. Please, 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 walk away. Odd_task, 8211. What you are going through isn't normal and this is not a healthy relationship. Your wife is abusive. She belittles your experience as an abuse survivor. Then she hit you. That's 3 strikes in my book. You can do much better than this abusive woman. For your own mental health, you would be better off without her. OOP. I understand, but I'm afraid I won't find another GF wife after her. I have issues being intimate, sexually, and rightfully a lot of women aren't into that. My wife was waiting till marriage, so it worked out perfectly for the both of us. Sons of Sparta 1984. Dude. I was also raped as a boy, by a man. There's plenty of women who don't judge for that kind of thing. The fear of being alone shouldn't keep you in an abusive relationship. Up until where she slapped you, it could have been explained away by a bad reaction to uncomfortable information, but it's never okay to hit someone you're in a relationship with, regardless of who has what in their pants. OP. Yeah, she wasn't the first partner I've had that slapped me. I just added it to my update thinking it wasn't that big of a deal, but people here have made me realize it isn't normal. First_alfalfa 2805. People start over in their 70s, and you are going to stay with this unsympathetic woman. A woman who doesn't care enough to believe you and then belittle you. Are you seriously willing to stay in this relationship? Sir, you were sexually abused. Your wife doesn't care and isn't supportive and is mentally abusive towards you. Well, if you don't want to start over, okay. OP, thank you, but please understand that I've spent 6 years with her, 7 in August. She's the first one that was willing to accept some of the flaws I have. Edit. I've realized that I'm just beating a dead horse by using this as justification to stay with her. I'm contacting a divorce lawyer. Askreddit. 74. You're talking about what's called a sunk cost fallacy. It's the belief that because you've invested so much time and money into something that you can't give it up. This marriage has run its course. Burdened, Mind 79. Accept you? She ridiculed you, and then when you apologized, which you did not need to do, quite frankly, she physically assaulted you. She called you a liar and struck you. This woman does not accept you. She's even turned down the option of couples therapy, so clearly has no interest in making this work. What she wants is for you to be wrong and her to be right, and she's not going to change until you bend your reality to fit her desires. You can't do that, because it will destroy you. If you think wasting 6 years is bad, just imagine how you'll feel when you've wasted 40 years on someone who belittles your trauma and hits you when she can't handle the reality of a situation. Think about that for a while. Do you really want to spend decades living with someone who thinks the best way of dealing with situations she doesn't like is to simply hit you and run away? You can do better. New update. Again, I just want to thank everyone for the amazing love and support you guys have shown me on my last 2 posts. Even though the response on my last post wasn't what I expected, it was a reality check for me. I'm beyond grateful for all the DMs and I promise I'll get to responding to all of them someday, but I'm going through a lot at the moment, so please bear with me. I have over 200 unread DMs. After I posted my update, I realized that I was definitely in an abusive relationship, and even though I wanted to make the marriage work, she has shown zero willingness to change her attitude towards what I went through. 2 days after posting my update, I contacted a lawyer and filed for divorce. I gave her plenty of chances and she has time and time shown me that she won't even acknowledge my trauma, let alone show me any form of support. I initially kept everything a secret and slowly started preparing my assets, savings, joint bank accounts, etc. I did finally tell her about me filing for divorce and she didn't take it well. She tried fighting it and claimed I will never find anyone else that's willing to put up with a giant pussy who can't even admit he wanted whatever happened to him. According to her, no woman is willing to put up with an attention-seeking crybaby like myself. I'm not going to lie. What she said got me, and for a brief moment I considered halting the divorce, but after she came home drunk one night and berated me for an hour straight, she snapped me back into reality. I don't know where the woman I fell in love with went, but that wasn't her. Looking back now, she'd given me plants of red flags, but I just ignored them for the sake of being loved for once in my life. For once I wasn't called gay for not being able to have sex when immediately getting into a relationship, Wasn't laughed at for having random seizures, etc. I moved out of our apartment after her rant and have been staying with my friends ever since. After she realized I wasn't coming back anytime soon, she DM'd all my friends claiming that I was an attention whore and was making up some sob story about being raped and that she was the one actually filing for divorce. Not only that, but she also told them that I was physically abusive and according to her, they shouldn't hang around a guy that hits women. Most of my friends just immediately called me names, told me I failed as a man and blocked me. The friend I'm currently staying with seems to be the only person on my side. I also want to mention that I moved away from the US to live with my grandparents in Europe when I was 19. I mentioned it in one of my comments, so I thought I'd mention it here. There were people who thought that she might have contacted my parents and that fueled her reaction to the abuse I faced. There is literally zero chance she can contact them since I didn't even tell her their names. I was doing an apprenticeship at a bank and she even started sending them evidence of me abusing her. I have no clue what she wrote to them. I had a meeting with HR on the 20th and they've decided to fire me. I tried fighting it, but they just said that I wasn't worth the hassle. I'm now back doing construction, don't have a proper education and have lost almost all of the people I'm close with. I'm just beyond tired at this point. Not angry, not sad, just numb. I feel like whenever I try to take a step forward, I take 3 steps backwards. Maybe I am just this unlovable and pathetic. Maybe I deserve all that's coming to me. I just don't know anymore. As stated by the title, this will be my last post. Reddit has given me so much great advice and made me realize so many things, and I'm beyond grateful for every single one of you who helped me, but it's also destroyed my mental health. For every 50 positive and supportive comments and DMs I've received, I've had one person say the same things I've heard all my life, and I've let those people get to me. A lot of people asked me why the hell I have such strong feelings towards my babysitter giving me blowjobs. First of all, I was 9 and she on multiple occasions threatened to take my life. Second of all, I left a lot of the other details out of my post because those memories are just too painful and I didn't think it was relevant for the purpose of my original post. I'm going to mention them here since I've nothing left to lose at this point. She would shove things up my ass like cucumbers, pens, etc. She would regularly hit me in the balls to punish me for disobeying her. She would dress me up as a girl and would force me to dance for her and pose in suggestive positions. There were times where I couldn't walk properly because of the things she did to me, and I got ruthlessly bullied in school as a result. How would you guys navigate my situation? Any advice would be appreciated. Thank you so much for reading this far into my post and supporting me over these past few weeks. Just a big thank you to 2u/writing_mm_romance and you in that page for checking up on me and genuinely being amazing human beings. They helped me through some seriously dark times. Relevant comments. Historical Maine. 8196. I'm so sorry, you didn't deserve this, not at all. Please change your number and any other contact information you have. If you are still at your friend's place, please use that time to find a job, something you can use to support yourself. I don't know how hard it may be for you to get an education degree, but it doesn't hurt to try. Also, if she comes at you again, document any form of contact in case the authorities get involved. Xcypher 96. I'm so sorry for what has happened to you. You deserve better. I'm surprised most of your friends really believed her story over yours. Did you try to explain your side to them? OOP. Yes, but they didn't listen. She used my mental health issues, ADHD and BPD, as a way to back up her claims and they all believed her. Base clean. I'm terribly sorry that this happened to you. All of it. I am a survivor too and it really fucks you up. It never leaves you, but you can work through it. It takes time and dedication. I'm sure that there are free support groups. I don't know where you are located, but in the US there's one that's specifically for male survivors. Just keep taking good care of yourself. I'm so glad you've found support here. You deserve it and all the good things. Also, she is obviously a miserable person and karma will come for her. I feel like you have a form of receipts in your posts here to show your innocence, but who would want to be friends with people like that? It's a tough pill to swallow, but just look at the whole thing as getting rid of a lot of dead weight. I would also consult with a lawyer about that employer letting you go. LMK if there's anything I can do to help. Fiancé proposes with a $38 Temu ring, now I'm wondering if I should marry him. Am I the asshole for wanting a better ring and questioning our future? Original post. My 27F fiancé, 29M, proposed to me a few weeks ago. It caught me completely by surprise, but we've been together for 3 years and things have been going great. So I was really excited and said yes. I really liked the ring when I first saw it, and my friends and family all think it is stunning. It's an oval cut with diamonds across the band. I asked where he got it and he wouldn't tell me where, but that he got a great deal on it. I didn't think anything of it until yesterday when we were in bed and I asked him if it was diamond or moissanite, mainly out of curiosity. I don't have a preference, BTW. He said he didn't know and would have to look it up. When I glanced over at his phone, he was in the Temu app. I asked him if he got it from there and he didn't respond. So I asked again and he responded with something like, "Does it matter?" and left the room and ended up sleeping on the couch. I spent all night so confused. Today I decided to download the app and look up my ring and I found one that looks identical. I found the exact ring and it listed at $38. I am mad. He makes good money, $200K/YR, and I feel like he could have shelled out some money for a ring better than one on Temu. AITA for telling him I don't want it? OOP's comments. OOP's thoughts. Okay, I'm not mad that the diamonds are not real. But I worry about the quality of the ring because I imagine my engagement ring to at least be sturdy. It's fine for now, but I have a hard time believing it'll last longer than a year if it's $38 on Temu. Commenter. NTABC, that thing might turn your finger green. He's lucky you don't have a sensitivity to fake metals like some do. He makes good money but bought a $38 ring. Is he cheap with other things where this discount shopping isn't a new thing for him and he's just an all-around penny pincher? My first thought was, did he not spend the money because he doesn't want to expect this to last? OOP. Yeah, let me provide some more context. Really, he's never been overly frugal. I'm probably more frugal than he is. Neither of us are huge spenders, but we each make enough to not have to strictly budget or anything. We have our own accounts and split rent equally. I know he has at least $100K across his savings investment accounts. We go out for drinks a few times a week and we'll go to concerts together and whatnot frequently. We travel a few times a year and stay in basic accommodations. Like our DoorDash the other night was $40. My ring costs less than DoorDashing dinner. Commenter. You are NTA, but what we all really want to know is whether or not you would still marry him if he replaces the ring. OOP. The responses to this have made me even more confused. People saying it could be a loyalty test, that he doesn't want me to be able to sell it if we divorce, or that he doesn't plan to be with me for long. I have a pit in my stomach. I haven't considered breaking things off, but that was before I wrote this here. I was thinking maybe he was just not thinking or rushed getting the ring, or maybe he genuinely thought he was getting a great deal on a high-quality ring. I'm not sure at this point. I plan to confront him when he gets back from work in a couple hours. The ring itself. The response to this is just absolutely insane. Sorry, I'm having a hard time keeping up with responses. A few of y'all want to see the ring, so here it is if you want to look it up. I'm still waiting for him to get home. Seller, LVZ Gem. 1 CT moissanite ring, women's wedding band suitable for banquet party official occasion, holiday Valentine's Day proposal. Engagement wedding gift anniversary. Gift birthday gift with certificate. I guess it technically is moissanite? Update post. After reading responses from my first post on the AITA subreddit, it got taken down. I was freaking out a bit. He came home while I was FaceTiming a friend about this. I hung up with her and then talked to him for an hour or so. He apologized for sleeping on the couch and that he needed time to think. He doesn't see eye to eye with me on my concerns about the ring and says he did research and that it was highly rated. He says if the ring breaks he will replace it, but didn't say it'd be higher quality. I have people messaging me that the ring could be harmful to my health and that Temu has horrible standards for their jewelry and labor issues, so now I really don't want to wear it. He left and went to his brother's house. Usually I'd go with him, but things are just tense. AITA for telling him I still don't want it. Some of OOP's comments. Commenter. Kind of tough, because had you not found out it was from Temu, would you be upset? OOP. TBH. If I hadn't found out it was from Temu, I probably wouldn't be upset. But when it inevitably breaks or tarnishes, the truth would come out. Now that I know, it has completely changed how I feel about the ring, even if it aesthetically doesn't look too bad. Commenter. Did this come as a shock, or is he normally cheap and thoughtless? OOP. He's not normally cheap or thoughtless. He's genuinely a great guy, which is making this harder to navigate. He started making me feel really guilty and materialistic today when we talked about this, and I can see his point of view, but I'm just confused. It feels like Temu is at the bottom of the barrel. I'd be happy with a cheap decent quality ring from Etsy or anywhere else. I don't really care about the price itself, it's more about the quality and feeling like he doesn't really value me the way I thought he did. OOP addresses several commenters asking if he thinks she is a gold digger. This was her most comprehensive response. I want to clear up these gold digger rumors because this isn't only about the cost of the ring. I only mention these things for context, not because I feel he owes me something in return. When I met him, I was making just over $100K, and he was working part-time and doing an internship bringing in significantly less than me. He totaled his car early on in our relationship and I happily drove him to his work every morning on the way to my work when he didn't have a car. When his mom got sick and went on hospice, I immediately canceled all of my travel plans and holiday plans with my family and sat with him visiting her every day for months. I helped with funeral arrangements. I helped plan his brother's wedding. I even loaned him money for a new car once he started his new job. He did pay me back BTW. He moved in with me recently and most everything in the home is mine that I paid for prior to the relationship, furniture, etc. I have paid for so many plane tickets for our travels, concert tickets, etc. that I've never asked him to pay back and never will. That's what a relationship is. I genuinely care for him. He has done similar gestures for me and is more than willing to spend money on dates. Believe it or not, I'm not this greedy woman sitting here excited to get his money. I have my own. Have they ever been ring shopping? We never went ring shopping. The proposal was a surprise to me. We'd casually discussed getting married in the future for the past year or so, but he never asked about my taste in rings, so I was kinda thinking that it happened before the engagement. I actually like the style of the ring, but now that I know it's from Temu, I can't look at it the same way. Mini update. I'm literally just sitting here refreshing your comments trying to figure out what to do next. He texted to let me know the plans of staying at his brother's for the weekend and is taking Friday off. It's not crazy abnormal since he's been watching football over there, but I feel like he's avoiding me now. I'm trying not to be pushy about the situation and I'll give him some space, but now I'm just in my head about all of it and regretting my initial reaction. It's just a dumb ring and maybe I've read into it too much. The only other time we've had an argument like this, it was resolved within a couple hours, so I'm not used to this behavior from him. Update 2. Update. He came home this morning while I was in a WFH meeting. These comments made my head spin all night. I got like 3 hours of sleep, so I admit I may be in the wrong for bringing up his finances, but I did. The gold digger rumors. When we met I was making more than him and often paying for his things. His high-paying job is a recent development. I have my own money and don't need it. I asked him what was going on, if there was anything he needed to tell me, if he was testing me by doing this. Well, that really set him off. What kind of person do you think I am? You think I'm a cheapskate, a liar? You obviously think really poorly of me. But still he never gave me a reason. So I asked why he was deflecting every question to victimize himself and to avoid my questions. He tried to leave again. So I tried de-escalating and told him I see where he's coming from, but I need to know if he still loves me. He was immediately apologetic and still wants to get married. He said I can just pick my ring out and buy it with my own money. He said he's sick of talking about this and it's water under the bridge now. He's acting like his normal self again since this convo. I hear him out there skipping around and humming to himself all happily and it's actually pissing me off. Maybe I'm being dramatic, but I don't think I can handle a marriage with someone like this.